welcome back to another episode of Diaries of a Working Couple. I'm Jamie.
I'm Chris. That was so depressing.
And Chris just made me restart this episode 12 times because he didn't like my intro.
We were laughing and clapping and all these weird things.
You were
right?
clapping. I was not clapping. I did none of the clapping.
I gotta sync the audio to the video if we eventually do that.
I tried to have a fun intro and he just kept stopping me midway. So it was very much a bummer.
Well, it's been a long time since we recorded.
It has been a long time since we recorded.
It's been probably 3 weeks.
I honestly can't even remember the last time. Like, I remember that we did record and I know what we recorded, but I cannot for the life of me remember when that was.
Yeah, we've been pretty busy.
Yeah, we have been really busy. Last weekend we had a wedding that we went to. That was up in Pittsburgh for Zach's friends. So that was a lot of fun. I had a blast.
I'm trying to think of why we didn't record the other weekend before that.
The weekend before that, I worked Saturday.
We watched the Eagles game on Sunday.
We had Sam and Chuck over.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So we had Sam and Chuck over from Friday to Sunday.
And then Sunday, Supriya came over so she could help us plant the hostas, even though it was absolutely pouring.
Yeah.
That was Sunday.
When you say help us plant the hostas,
she did the whole thing, and we just stood there in the rain and watched her.
She planted everything, and we supervised.
Yes. But I felt...
Now we have a whole hosta garden.
We do. I'm excited. Even though they are still growing, we have pieces of hostas that Supriya kindly gave us, and it was after the deers had gotten to them because there's not a lot of food around for the deers to eat. Was it deers or deer?
I think it's deers plural as well.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, it has definitely been a while. So welcome back to us.
Yeah. So since the last time we recorded, now I have to go back into the office 3 days a week, which is pretty lame.
Has it really been that long since we recorded?
Yeah, it's been like 2 or 3 weeks.
I feel like that was the beginning of September, which is like a whole month.
That's a good point. It has not been that long since we recorded.
Anyway.
Maybe it has. I don't know. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last one that we recorded, but 3 days of work, or 3 days a week going into the office, about an hour commute each way. Pretty lame. I'm about 3 weeks into it now, and I'm pretty tired of it.
Yeah, what do you do on the train?
It's a great question. If I travel with Harshal, then we somewhat talk and somewhat sit there in silence and look at our phones. If I am on the train by myself, I'm usually listening to a podcast. Or maybe watching YouTube videos for part of it, but I lose reception in part of the trip, so really just depends, but for the most part, I just sit there and feel very unproductive.
That's fair. I mean, that is a long train ride to do nothing.
It's 2 hours a day, and if they eventually make us come back 5 days a week, then that is 10 hours of my week that I will be wasting commuting.
Come on, Papa. Up.
But I kind of expected to come back to the office. I don't know if I expected to come back full time, but if we do, then it's not the end of the world. It's just kind of lame.
Sorry, I'm trying to get...
You're really struggling over there.
I'm trying to give Lava room so she can jump up because she just stood here and stared at me. Do you want to come up, Papa? Do you want to come here? Bubba? Come here. It's okay. Come here.
You didn't even give a fact.
Yeah, I did. You made me restart this entire episode like 12 times, and it was a big bummer. But fun fact for you, redheads make up about 2% of the world's population.
Is that the one that you said that you weren't going to be able to memorize?
No, but that one's in the book.
Man.
You gotta wait till next
This
episode.
This episode is already rough. This is really rough.
Anyway. Is there anything else? What are you drinking today?
I'm drinking a Jack and Coke.
I'm only drinking water.
It's a classic.
We're pretty lame today.
Yeah, today is just...
Well, we normally record on a weekend. And both of us, we're recording on a Wednesday, so both of us have to get up and go to work tomorrow. I feel like mixed drinks and experimenting with cocktails is not a good Wednesday night adventure.
It's totally fine for me. It's just I would be totally depressed on the train tomorrow. But I'm depressed most of the time I'm on the train, so it would just be like a normal day.
Yeah, no, I don't really think that's a good idea for me going into work. But that's okay.
Yeah, interesting fact. Not an interesting fact. Well, I was going to say that this is the first episode that we're recording where we have headphones on so we can hear each other in a ASMR type fashion.
He really is just trying to steal my interesting factoid of the week segment. He's trying to take it over. But yeah, we are. It's very weird because it's almost like talking with earplugs in. You're just a lot more in tune with yourself, like hearing yourself.
Yeah, I think that when I'm talking, it really just sounds like I'm talking normally. It doesn't sound muffled at all like it would with like a big pair of headphones, but it sounds pretty normal. But when you talk is when it like really gets weird because it's like you're whispering in my ear.
I wasn't going to whisper. I was about to, but I was like,
I saw you debate in your head.
You watched that process?
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to.
I could see that chugging right through your mind.
You saw the smoke billowing from my ears.
Yeah.
No, I was going to, but then I was like, when I have to listen to this back and hear the whispering, I will hate myself forever. So I decided against it.
All right.
I'm not here for the ASMR stuff.
So, today's topic is going to be about Bachelor and Bachelorette parties.
Yes. We have both actually had one of those.
We've both had them. We've both been to other people's. We've both planned one for somebody.
You planned multiple, correct?
No.
No.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, I did. Never
Cyrus
mind.
And Jason.
Cyrus and Jason. Yeah. So we have quite a bit of experience with them. We just went to a wedding last weekend. We are going to a wedding next weekend. So we're in the wedding mindset again.
Very much so.
And this year has just been full of weddings. So why not make it a topic of discussion?
Honestly, last year and this year were just full of weddings. If it wasn't a wedding, it was a bachelorette party. It was a bridal shower. It was a bachelor party. There's just a lot. There's a lot that goes into weddings. So it was.
I think typically women have more things, right? Because they have
always.
the showers and they have the bachelorette party if you're invited to that.
Yeah.
There's a lot more for you to get ready to. You have to shop for dresses or whatever if you're going to buy a new dress for the wedding. And that's a whole process in itself. And a guy is just like, all right, we'll go to the bachelor party if we're invited, which usually it's just a small, close group of friends. So depending on what, the wedding.
Unless you're your cousin.
What are you talking about?
Didn't Jimmy have a big one or no? He had
It was big, but everybody, he had a huge bridal party. There was 12 on each side, I think.
Yeah. That was massive comparatively.
So anyway, are you okay?
I have to sneeze. It's stuck in my nose.
Aren't you supposed to say watermelon or something?
Watermelon or Clorox, or you look at the light, and I don't remember which one makes you sneeze and which one makes you not sneeze.
It's pretty dark in here, so...
I know, I turned the light on. It's not perfect, but...
Anyway, Bachelor and Bachelorette parties. We're going to talk about it. So what do you think we should talk about first? Should we talk about our own experiences with our own parties?
I think, yeah, we can do that. Mine was very, I don't want to say it was uneventful, but it was relatively drama free. It was very relaxing. My bridesmaids and maid of honor were very good at determining what would be what I would enjoy most.
So
And
how long was yours?
mine was a weekend. So we left on a Friday afternoon and came back Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I think that's like the new standard now. Is a lot of bachelor and bachelorette parties are more of a weekend gig, or sometimes a full week, depending on the bride or groom. But yeah, I think that, and we could talk about this later, but sometimes it's a financial burden to do some of these bachelor parties and stuff like that, because they go on for full weekends, which means you're paying for housing, food, and everything for a full weekend.
Yeah, it definitely depends on where you're going. I know my bridesmaids were very cost conscious about everything. They still wanted us to have fun, but instead of doing like a really nice like resort or something, they're like, we're just gonna get a little Airbnb in Lancaster. They were originally looking at doing either the Poconos or Cape May or
I think there was talks of New York
Finger
too.
Lakes. Yep, the Finger Lakes, going up to that. And in the end, the Lancaster just seemed to be the best fit, but that wasn't even on the map at the beginning. Like, that wasn't even an option when they were planning everything out. So,
Yeah, I think it's good to keep finances in mind when planning these types of things, because even though many of the people going may be financially okay to do something like that, some people might not be. Um, really all just depends. I
eh,
mean, you got to know the whole party to understand what's going on, and
yeah, and
people's financial preferences and
you just
stuff.
have to be considerate, because I know there have been ones that I've gone to or like I've planned where it's like you try to be considerate of like the cost of everything, because being in a wedding in itself is expensive. Because at least for girls, you have to, usually you pay for hair, you pay for makeup, you pay for the dress, you have the bachelorette party, you got the bridal shower, you got the shoes and the jewelry. You got so many different things that you have to worry about. And then in addition to that, if you have to purchase the robes or the pajamas that you're wearing, because that's not always a gift, that's something that the bride's like, I want you to have this, but you need to purchase it yourself. Like, there's a lot being a female that goes into even being in a wedding, not even just planning the wedding.
Yeah, it's a little bit cheaper, I guess, from the male point of view, just because, well, still a suit rental is pretty expensive. Like, mostly the rates are around like 200 to 250 to rent a suit or a tux. I don't think it really changes which one you go with. And then, also with renting a suit, it's like their return date is the day after the wedding or so. So like it's always a stressful event renting your suit like a day or two before the wedding, picking it up, going to the wedding, making sure you don't stain it or do something to damage it, because then you're financially
Obligated.
obligated to pay for it. And then, you have to return it within the next day, or they're going to charge you even more money to keep the suit for an extra day.
And isn't there usually like a time limit? Like, you have to return it by like 2 p.m. the next day or some
Yeah, I mean, I guess it
asinine
depends
thing like
on
that.
where you rent it from. I know that the place that I rented my suit for Ryan's wedding, it was just like a guy that owns a suit shop in Philly, I guess. So he was probably a little more lenient than if you go to one of these like retail box stores to, I forget what they're called.
Men's Warehouse.
Yeah, something like Men's Warehouse or whatever. Um, so yeah, renting a suit, kind of expensive, but I would say that's similar to like buying a dress. Like,
Yeah.
cost wise, it's probably similar, except the dress you usually get to keep it. For our wedding, we made our groomsmen buy their suits because we found like a sale at Kohl's, and it turned out to be like $80 or $100 or
It was like
something.
100. I feel like it was either 100 or 150. But I did a lot of like shopping around for suits to find what was the most economical because again, you want to be cognizant of who's in your wedding party and what can and cannot be afforded.
Yeah, so like we could talk about that more when we actually talk about planning a wedding, but suit, dress, I would say around the same cost, typically. And then bachelor party, that's probably similar to a bachelorette party. We don't have to go to a shower, which is nice, unless they do a Jack and Jill shower. But I would say that the gift that you're giving at a Jack and Jill shower and a normal shower is the same, right? So, like from a
Usually.
financial standpoint, they're probably the same. Just less of a time obligation for the men if it's not a Jack and Jill shower.
Yeah, but you guys don't have the jewelry, you don't have the matching robes or pajamas if that's a requirement, the hair, the makeup. So that it's like the extraneous stuff that's the day of
Yeah, but
that
that
adds
stuff
up.
is all new. Like, I guarantee when our parents got married, none of that was a thing. Getting matching PJs and, all
Oh,
this.
absolutely.
Yeah, you're agreeing with me?
I'm agreeing. It
Yeah.
only came about, once you had social media and everything else come into play.
Yeah.
Like, that's where you get the matching PJs. And everyone has to have hair and makeup done. And,
Engagement shoots.
right. So, engagement shoots, yes.
Like, my parents probably just had their parents take a picture of them when they got engaged, right? And now people are hiring professional photographers for, $1,500 or whatever to take professional photos of them.
So, a lot of photographers include, if you book them for your wedding, they'll usually include an engagement shoot in that
Did
pricing.
ours?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Fun fact.
Did not know.
Yes.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that we saved some money there ish.
Yeah. But
Okay, so yeah, I forgot. We were
so my
starting.
bachelorette party, we did an Airbnb in Lancaster. It was very cost effective. The first night we literally just ordered in Chinese food. So my bridesmaids got to the Airbnb early and decorated. We ordered Chinese food. We got that I don't remember if we got that delivered or someone went out and got it.
I don't think it matters, right? But
I
like,
vaguely I want to say Megan and Mary went out and got it because it was like near closing time and it was like a whole debacle just trying to get the food.
yeah, I think as you're talking, you keep saying like it was very economical, which makes it sound like it wasn't great. Like, I don't know. Like,
No, I had
I know. I feel like the main point of these things are just to like hang out with your friends and just have like one last like party hurrah type deal before you get married.
and so it is. So that's the point of a bachelorette party. And that's why I really enjoyed mine because I'm very much a homebody. I'm very much a relax. I don't like going out to bars and clubs unless I'm really in the mood for it. I'm more of like a sports bar versus like a like go dance and drink until I black out kind of bar kind of person. So that's why I really enjoyed mine because my bridesmaids knew the kind of person I am and they took that into account when planning everything. We ordered Chinese food and literally just sat around and talked the first night. We didn't go out. We didn't go drinking. We had like a bottle of champagne that we broke open, maybe some wine, but that was it. The next morning, we went to a little coffee shop for breakfast. We had a coffee shop for breakfast. Then we went to a vineyard for a wine tasting, which was really good. So we did the vineyard for the wine tasting.
How much wine do you get to taste at a wine tasting? I've never done one.
It's kind of like getting a flight of beers.
Okay.
So I think we got 5 that we got to try. And
then do you get like a full glass at some point? Or?
you can. It's totally up to you.
So if you see like a Groupon for $50 to go wine tasting, that's only like 5 little sips of wine.
Yeah, it's like a little flight.
Man, can't get me into that.
Well, it's fun. Like we were in a back tasting room and everything. But we did that, and after that, we went to Kitchen Kettle. I don't remember what the name of it is, but it's where there's a bunch of little shops and everything. It's really cute out in Lancaster. So we went and shopped around there for a little bit because that's where my mom and Aunt Mel go when Aunt Mel and Uncle Tim go camping out there. So, and Mom and I had gone out there a couple times. So it was really nice because Megan was used to that place, so we were all just hanging out and chatting. We shopped a little bit. We sat down, had some soft pretzels at this place that was really good. And then cuz Lucia drove, but then everyone else, like, we also Ubered there. So it was 7 of us that crammed into Lucia's Equinox to get back to the Airbnb. Mary and I were sitting in the trunk. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
It was a real throwback to, when we were younger. And
so that was your Saturday, and then Sunday, I guess, was just a come home day.
I'm not done.
Oh.
Cause after Kettle Kitchen, we went home and we took a nap. They had planned out nap time.
They know you very well then.
Before we got up and we went to dinner. And we just went to dinner at some like little Irish pub. And then we came home and we literally just sat around and had a couple more glasses of wine and just chatted.
They know you pretty well if they scheduled nap time.
It was glorious. It was absolutely wonderful.
That's funny.
So yeah. And then Sunday we went and grabbed breakfast and then came home. But yeah, it was very me, which I greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I was going to ask what, out of all the things that happened on your bachelorette party, was there any crazy story that happened?
No. Which is really nice. Like, I've been a part of bachelorette parties where things have gone haywire. I've been to ones where there's just drama everywhere and it just doesn't make sense, and it's a whole thing. And that was a really nice thing about mine. It was just it was what I wanted to do. It was what I would have planned without me planning it.
Nice. And who planned yours?
Lena and Mary, I think, had a really big hand in it as well.
Okay. Cool.
What about yours? Tell me about yours.
My bachelor party, Barry is the one who organized it. And we went out to the Poconos. We had an Airbnb for the weekend. It was a Friday through Sunday type of deal. It was your brother's first bachelor party that he's ever gone to.
Both of them?
Jake. I don't know about Zach.
Oh no, did Chops have one? Chops must have had one. I think Zach's been to one before. Now that I think about it, but it was Jake's first.
Yeah. And yeah, so we showed up on Friday, and I remember there was Cyrus brought a disc golf net, so we were just like throwing putts in the backyard.
Like a basket or like a net?
Yeah, I guess it has chains, like a real. I was just thinking of a net because like there's no cage to it. It's literally like a netted, like catch cylinder with a few chains in it. It's like I think it's like a cheaper disc golf basket or something, or like it was definitely. He's been playing disc golf for years, so it's definitely an older one too. So yeah, we were just sitting around in the backyard, shooting some putts, drinking some beers. I remember Ryan showed up. Ryan had a custom shirt for me and some custom koozies that supported drinking beer. And the first night I went really, really hard. I drank a lot of beer. And pretty much like we just ate, and Barry got a Chick-fil-A tray of the sandwiches that were grilled. This is not what he expected. So he expected to get, like a classic chicken sandwich, which is the crispy chicken, and like I guess a platter of those is what he thought he ordered. Well, they gave him grilled chicken, which like Jake corrected. Told us that this is what they do for catering trays. They give you like grilled chicken with rolls or something. So like the sandwiches Barry was not super pumped about when he got it. But yeah, we ate Chick-fil-A, I guess. I don't remember that well. I drank a lot of beer. I do remember like 2 in the morning throwing up aggressively in the bathroom, and while Barry was trying to Snapchat it, he kept kicking the door open and Snapchatting it. And like I just remember I was not super pumped at the time. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Um, so that brings us to the next morning. I felt like crap. Pretty much the whole day on Saturday. But Barry planned for us to go golfing. So we went to this one course, and I'm trying to think. I feel like it was kind of wet out.
Oh, I thought it was raining.
Yeah. It was either raining or it was just super wet. It was probably raining in the morning, but it turned out to be a great day of golf because there was so minimal people on the course, and we had so many people that um, it wouldn't have worked if we went to a golf course on a normal day because we would have either got kicked out or.
Plus, I don't think everyone that went were golfers, like normally golfed.
That's true. Your younger brother Jake does not golf. That was his first time ever golfing. And then Jason, I don't consider a golfer, and I know that he's gonna send me a message about this when he hears this, if he hears this. But Jason, your mom's clubs from the '70s or whatever don't make you a golfer. Though his performance is probably close or better than Ryan's. So Ryan is, he I would consider him, I guess, a guy that golfs. And then Cyrus, he I don't know. He used to golf a lot more than he does now. But yeah, so like we had a group of more advanced players, and then some people following up behind. The notable story from golfing was that Ryan really took a few beers to the face, and then he stopped when we hit the ninth or the 10th hole. Like after we had done the front nine, he stopped at the pro shop, got more beers. And I guess so on the front nine, this golf course was surrounded by a bunch of cabins and stuff that people own. Somebody called the pro shop saying, "Hey, there's just a guy out there peeing in the middle of the fairway." And this was Ryan. He just really, he was having a lot of beers, having a great time. Instead of going near a tree or something, he would just whip it out in the middle of the fairway and pee, I guess.
You guess? You didn't witness this or anything?
I mean, there was definitely some sketchy bathroom situations. But like, I don't remember seeing Ryan out in the middle of the fairway. I definitely heard from Barry and some other people that he was. I don't remember that well. But anyway, so he was doing that on the front nine. Well, we get to the back nine, and the like guy that runs the course during the day comes out to us to talk to us. Well, Ryan's back at the pro shop buying more beers, so he's telling us like, "Hey, we heard that people are slamming their brakes on their carts and screeching the tires, and he's like, also like, we heard that somebody is out just peeing out in the open, and he's like, guys, I'm glad that you're here because we don't have much business right now because it's raining, but just go to a tree if you're gonna pee. Like, stop being assholes about it." And we're all like, "Yeah, like, sorry, like, we'll clean up our act and everything." And Ryan comes back as this guy's finishing up, like flooring it, and it just screeches his tires up to a stop. And the guy turns around like, "Seriously?"
You're like, and we found the culprit.
Yeah, and here's the culprit right here. So yeah, we had to calm him down a little bit. But I think that, we started with how many? It was like 8 or 7 of us in the beginning of the course that started the round.
It should have been 7. Everyone came to yours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 7 including
So
you.
7, yeah, and then at the end of the course, we finished with like 5 people playing golf, probably. Ryan gave up somewhere on like the 13th or 14th hole. After a few too many beverages. So after golf, we came back. We were just drinking um, at the Airbnb again. It was on a lake, and it was really sketchy. But Barry wanted to take. We had two kayaks, one double and one single, and he wanted to take those out to this island in the middle of the lake. And it was starting to get like dark out. I was not touching that. Your brothers weren't touching that. Cyrus said he would go if he could take the single kayak. And of course, the only other person that wants to go with Barry is Ryan. And Barry was not having it. They did go out there. They were out there taking Snapchats and stuff and sending them back. But and then they came back too. But yeah, I mean, when they came back, it was so dark out, like we could not see them.
Wasn't that? I felt like that day I heard stories that was the day Barry really got into the beers.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm telling this story quite like a Jason story where it takes forever to get to the end. But yeah, Saturday night, Barry really, went to town on some. I think he brought some type of liquor with him. And, the first night he was drinking mostly beer. Second night he hit the liquor pretty hard. I could tell he was very, very intoxicated when we went to bed. To the point where I had an iPad with me for some reason.
Wasn't it your work iPad? Or no?
Yeah, I had an iPad with me for some reason. And he put his Doritos on top of my iPad, like it's just a handful of Doritos. And then I asked him, well, why did you put Doritos on my iPad? Like I came out of the room and he proceeded to tell me about my Doritos socks.
I have heard about the Dorito socks.
Yeah, which that was odd. It was a sign of intoxication maybe. And eventually, he passed out in the bed, pretty sprawled out to the point where we were sharing a bed, and I could not sleep in the bed. So I ended up sleeping on the floor, which I thought was good because if Barry were to get up in the middle of the night, at least I would know. So turns out, a few hours later, he does get up, and I wake up when I see him get out of bed, and he looks like he's going to blow. And I'm like, Barry, bathroom's open. I'm like pointing him in the direction, like it's over there. And he runs right past me towards the stairs that go upstairs. There's no bathroom anywhere inside of there, and just lets it rip all over the stairs. And then he felt a little better. Maybe he started trying to clean it up, but like this was... Man, it was just a sad sight of seeing him like stooped over, probably still very intoxicated, just like slowly wiping vomit with a paper towel. This is like a classic like bachelor party story. But yeah, so he eventually, I was just like, just go to bed. We'll deal with it later or whatever. So I got him to go back to bed. Your brother Jake was so nice. He was trying so hard to let him clean it up because he didn't want me doing that because it was my bachelor party. But I was like, there's no way.
That kid's a saint.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way that I'm letting you clean this up. I was like, this is his fault, which I'm going to have to take responsibility for now. So I eventually cleaned it all up. Jake still helped out a little bit and got me paper towels and stuff like that. But yeah, next morning, pretty rough time for Barry, I think.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah, but I was pretty wiped out on Saturday morning, so like I didn't drink a lot until maybe after golf and wasn't anywhere near the first night. So I really blew it out on the first night.
That's good though. Got it out of your system.
You know how it is. When we took the cruise too, I thought I'd test that alcohol limit as well, and that's where the flying spaghetti came from.
Yes, the flying spaghetti on the first night.
Yeah.
But
so that wraps up our bachelor party experiences.
What bachelor parties have you been a part of? Not planned, but just been a part of.
So definitely Jimmy's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've gone to any other.
You have. There's one other one.
Oh, Ryan's
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, Ryan's I went to as well. Which that one was interesting. I thought I was not going to enjoy that much because that was deep sea fishing, and I turned out loving it. Like at first, I was worried about getting seasick, and also I'm just not like a huge fishing fan. I don't want to hold a fish with my hands. I don't know. I'm not one of those guys, that you see
Your
on
dainty little keyboard
on
fingers.
Instagram holding up the fish to the camera. Yeah, I got my dainty little keyboard fingers that I type with. But oh, Lava was making a little groan.
Oh.
But yeah. So I didn't really think I was going to enjoy that, but little did I know, like 10 beers later, I was loving it. I was loving it. That was a ton of fun.
Did Barry go to that one?
Barry did go to that one. Yeah, that was an awesome time. And then Jimmy's bachelor party, which I would call that like the typical like wild bachelor party, where my cousin is in he serves for
Air Force,
Air
right?
Force, yeah. Um, I was trying to say that in a more generic way, but I guess I'll just say say that it's the Air Force.
He serves in the military.
Yeah, and his bachelor party was in Miami. I forget where we stayed. I think it was the Fountain Blue, maybe, which is like a really popular spot, or like it's supposed to be like a high end spot. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I can't tell if that's where we stayed or if that's something that I heard on TV and I like just associated it with this bachelor party. So I'll have to ask Barry to remember because he made all the hotel plans and stuff. But yeah, we went to Miami, so we flew in on one day. The first night, like it was at a club where we got bottle service, and like this wasn't cheap. Like I think to even get bottle service, you have to spend like 2K or something. Which there was like 12 people there, but still, like I think the whole bachelor party for me at the time, I was a college student, and it was like $1,000 or something total for like the whole weekend. But yeah, it was pretty wild. Barry lost his shoes.
Did he lose them or?
I don't know. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about the shoes. That's all I'm gonna say about the shoes. But yeah, it was pretty wild. It was actually I think it was a 4-day thing because it was
Oh,
well. So like the first night was all of us just flying in, and
that's fair.
we had a steak dinner. That was really it. I think. Maybe not. Maybe that was the night we went out too. I don't remember, but like all I remember is like we had one day where we went full out, and then the next night everybody else was going out again, and me and Barry stayed back. Like we were just like we feel sick and crappy from the first night. We're not going out again.
What did you do during the days? Like, did you do anything or did you guys just like sleep the day away until it was time to go out?
Maybe it was just a weekend, and like it was literally like we flew in, we got to the hotel, we went out to dinner, we went out to the club. We were out till like 3 or 4 in the morning, came back, slept until probably middle of the day the next day, and that's when we were like, yeah, we just feel like crap. And then that night passed, got on the plane home.
Okay.
Yeah, so it must have been 3 days. I don't remember if we did anything during the day, and maybe I just have bad memory. You know how it is.
Yeah, we have learned that you don't store everything
I don't
up in
retain
your
everything
noggin.
well. No. So, yeah, those are the two that I attended. How many of you attended that you didn't have a planning role in?
I think it was I think it's been 2.
So you had Karen's.
I had Karen's and well, I was supposed to attend Sonals.
Yeah.
So I'm counting that because so what happened with Sonals is I got bronchitis the week that I was supposed to fly down. So I was all in. I had the flights. I had helped pay for the Airbnb. Like, we did all that stuff. And then literally that week I got bronchitis.
Yeah, which at the time, COVID tests took like 2 days or something, and you couldn't get tested before you had to fly out and get the results back.
Well, I could have. So I had one scheduled. I went and got one done anyway. But additionally, after that, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is bronchitis because I've gotten it in the past.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to see me at the Minute Clinic I went to. Because COVID was still in the height. Not like height of it, but it was not where we are now with it.
Yeah.
So the nurse practitioner that was there, she's like, technically I'm not supposed to do this and this, that, and the other. I was like, listen, that's fine. I understand. Like, I'm a pharmacist. I know what the mindset is and how careful we're all being with COVID. I've gotten this in the past. I'm at that point again, and I know what this is. This is what I need. And she was like, hemming and hawing. She's like, okay, just come in. I was like, I don't even have to sit on the bench. Like, I won't touch anything. Just like, I need a Z-Pack. I need some cough medicine and like some steroids. And that's essentially what she did, which was very helpful. But after she like did the full exam, she's like, yeah, it sounds like bronchitis. I was like, yeah, I know.
Oof.
So
That's rough.
it was less than exciting, but for Sonals, it was in Mexico. So for Sonal's bachelorette party, now mind you, Sonal's wedding was a week-long event. Sonal had a very large Indian wedding that literally, if you watch the stuff in like movies, it like puts it to shame. Like, Sonal's
Very extravagant.
very extravagant, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was so much fun. I am so glad I got to be a part of it.
Still talked about it till this day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's also kind of how her bachelorette was. Like, it was like a Thursday to Sunday in Mexico. We were doing an Airbnb, and they had a beach picnic planned, and they hung out all by the pool one day, and everyone had to wear like matching pink for one day and have black swimsuits for another day, and they were going to go out on a yacht, and it was a lot going on. And that was definitely on the more expensive side of everything.
Yeah, and you got to pay for some stuff, and you didn't even get to go.
I know. I got to pay for everything, antibiotics included.
Yeah.
And I saw so many pictures, and it looked like a lot of fun. And it definitely did look like something that Sonal would have enjoyed. I don't know how much downtime they actually had through everything, being that I was not there. But that was definitely one of the more extravagant bachelorette parties
That you have been invited to.
that I was invited to. The other one was Karen's. That was this past month.
We definitely either recorded right before or right after that, because I remember mentioning it.
That one was less extravagant, but still pretty planned out. That one was in Philly, which was nice for actually most of us, because Philly was a quick drive for everyone. When I say quick drive, I mean like 2 hours or less. For everyone except for the maid of honor. She had to fly in from Chicago. But
it seemed like you guys had something to do like every few hours, though.
It was planned out.
It was like I would text you and you're like, oh, we're eating breakfast here, and then, oh, we went here to do candle something, and then oh, we're at lunch at this specific place, and
Yep.
then oh, we went back to maybe take a nap or something. I don't know if you took naps.
We did the one day because the the very first night, it was, I think this one was also a Thursday to this one was a
This one
Thursday
was
to
definitely
Sunday
longer. Yeah, it was Thursday to Sunday.
because I left Thursday night after work and I drove into Philly. And we had this Airbnb in, I think it was called, it's like a area of Philly that's just less than savory.
Yeah, leave it at that.
I feel like that's just the best way to put it. But that was not how it was portrayed in the Airbnb advertisement.
Yeah, I would say that if you had the opportunity to review the Airbnb ad before anybody made a booking,
Oh, I would have said we
yeah, you would
should
have
book somewhere
knew that
else.
that location is not appropriate. But either way,
Either way, so we get there. There's a like very limited parking. That was a whole fiasco because the bride got there later than everyone else, which was planned. We figured so that way everyone else had time to set up. But that caused parking issues, so that was a whole fiasco. The bride wasn't happy with kind of where the Airbnb was after she got there and realized everything. And so that was a whole fiasco in itself. But the first night we also stayed up till like 6 a.m., like playing games and talking and drinking and just having a good time.
I remember when you said we were. I think you phrased it. We were out until 6 a.m. And I was like, where were you guys partying at till 6 a.m.?
Oh no, we
And
were up
especially
until 6 a.m.
especially coming back to the Airbnb at like such a late time. I don't know. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe you guys are alive.
No, we were up until 6 a.m. because once we were all in the Airbnb that first night, we were there. We're just hanging out. We had games, we had snacks, we had drinks. We really didn't need to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So we were up until 6 a.m. And then the following morning, we got up. We had brunch was planned. That day, we went back and took a nap because some of us just were not feeling well from the night before. So we did come back and take a nap, but then we had plans for wax and wine, which is where you make your own candles and drink
Okay.
wine.
Pause. Pause. Please describe the candles that you made and the names associated with them.
So at Wax and Wine, they have over 20 different scents, and you can choose one scent or multiple scents to put, or up to 2 scents to put in a candle. That's really it. And obviously every scent has a different name, like leather or oceans or vanilla or cinnamon, just very generic things. And I personally, I love anything that smells like super tropical, the oceans, and I like things that smell clean.
Fresh linens.
Fresh linens, love that scent. So I was smelling a couple different things, and they had a scent there called Butt Naked. It smelled like melons. I don't know where they got Butt Naked from, like a like fruity melony scent, but anyway. So I smelled that one and I smelled the oceans one. I was like, that would smell really good together. So they were like, okay, so you write everything down. We'll get everything together for you. And then when you put it all together, they say, okay, now you need to name your candle. And I was like, they're like, you can kind of name it whatever you want, but usually like we recommend, doing like a cute play on words with like the scents that you have. And I was like, okay, oceans, butt naked. I'm calling mine skinny dipping, which I thought was quite clever.
Yeah. Super clever.
And then I had another one that was kind of like a campfire. I don't know, the smell reminded me of like an end of summer bonfire.
Okay.
So I think that one I named like my favorite sweater or something like that. Or like, I don't know. That one I still struggled
Hmm.
with.
Yeah. It was campfire and what?
It was like, it wasn't campfire, but it was like a I think that's what it was, like cashmere cedar.
Which is just a wood.
It's like a woody like
Okay.
smell and something else, and I can't remember what it was.
You're killing me. I was thinking, what if we just came up with a great name now?
Well, because I was thinking of like naming it like Summers with You or something like that. Because it literally, like, the smell just reminds me of like something you'd see in like a teen movie where it's like end of summer, beginning of fall, bonfire on the beach kind of thing.
Hmm.
Listen, I have a very specific like.
Without knowing the second scent,
I
it's
know
hard to come up with.
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Okay. Anyway, so after candles and wine.
And candles and wine. Then we went back to the Airbnb, changed for dinner. We went out to this fried chicken bar.
Didn't you say it was like super good?
It was so freaking good, and they closed down.
Oh, already?
Yeah. Well, so they closed. It's been around for a couple years, but they closed down for.
Like permanently?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, it's only been like a month since the
I
bachelorette
know.
party.
Apparently, like, that was like the last weekend they were open or something like that, but like they didn't say, or
Yeah,
there
that
was no
sucks.
like.
It's rough for small businesses.
But it was so good. They had the best fried chicken. And then after that, they were trying to find a board game bar. We went to this little like dive bar instead. And it was just not a scene for a bachelorette party. So we had a drink, and then we said, we're going home. And we went back to the Airbnb. And then the second day, it was okay, we get up, we have brunch at this different place. Then we have a rooftop bar that we're going to. And then after that, we're just kind of going to, like traipse around the city, kind of do our thing. So we went to a different board game bar that was an actual board game bar.
Nice.
And we were there for a little bit. And then after that, we went back to the Airbnb to change. And then we went to dinner. And then after dinner, we just went back. But it was all very planned out with reservations and everything. That was very specific. And even the Sunday morning, I left to go home earlier than everyone else. But they all went to brunch. And that was also, we have reservations, like, very specific.
Yeah.
That one was very, very planned out.
Yeah, that sounds like a planning nightmare. Well, speaking of planning, we could talk about bachelor and bachelorette parties that we've had to plan. I think the planning role is the worst role to have, or it's the least fun because you're kind of the adult keeping the children in line.
So it's fun and it's not. And it depends on the group of people that you're planning for, I feel as though. Reason I say that is because, so I've only ever planned one bachelorette party. And that was, to put it nicely, a nightmare. Just because it was a group of women that everyone had their own opinion and everyone wanted it their way, even though they were not the bride. And it was a lot of back and forth. Oh, I'm coming. Oh, I'm in a fight with the bride, so I'm not going to be there anymore. And then 4 days later, oh, yes, I'm here. And it was a lot of back and forth. Meanwhile, I'm trying to plan things that the bride would like. We had dinner at her favorite restaurant in Annapolis. Then originally I was like, let's go. There's a haunted pub crawl through Annapolis. And I know she would have a great time with this. Let's do it. And she wanted she was like on the fence about shirts. I'm like, let's get shirts. We're going to do this. It was like pulling teeth trying to get money from these women. It was like, I was getting texts every other day saying, I'm not going to be there, or, okay, I'll be there. And it was so much back and forth and back and forth. And then when we decide, okay, we're not going to do the pub crawl, we're just going to go out and have some drinks. And then, of course, it's like a Saturday night in Annapolis. So, like, they card at every bar like a regular bar would. And one of the women forgot her ID and just assumed because she was older, she wouldn't need an ID to get in.
Hmm.
And so instead of going to this bar that the bride wanted to, we had to go to some hole in the wall that wouldn't ID everyone. And it was like a much older crowd. It was not the vibe for a bachelorette party. And in the end, I felt so bad for the bride because she is one of my closest friends and I wanted her to actually be able to enjoy the night. And it was so much back and forth just trying to make sure everyone was happy because some of the problem children in the equation were her future in-laws.
Yeah.
And it was a lot
It
more
puts you in a tough
difficult.
spot.
But I also know that Lucia, when Lucia was planning Sarah's bachelorette party, and I'm sure when Sarah was doing Lucia's, they had a lot of fun because it was, okay, what does my sister want to do? And it was one of those things that I'm sure there was a little pushback from some of the bridesmaids, but for the most part, everyone's like, yeah, because those two are some of the most like generous people in the world. And so when it's like time for a bachelorette party, they're like, we want to make this as much fun as we can for the bride.
Yeah.
So they may have had pushback from like one or two, but in the end, they were still able to do everything and plan everything that the bride loved. And I feel like it would be a lot of fun as long as people don't realize it's not about them. It's about what the bride wants because it's her weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, so I planned two bachelor parties. The first one, like, man, it doesn't really count. Like, it was a one night deal. It was probably more of like a typical bachelor party. Like, if you look back at like my parents' time. But Cyrus's bachelor party, we were still in school. Um, he was getting married at a relatively young age, like 22, and like he only had a select few people that he wanted there, so like it was like five of us or six of us, and we he didn't like he just wanted to do something chill. Like he's not a guy that wants to go out to bars or do anything wild. And at the time, it's funny, so I ended up deciding that we were going to go golfing. So I found a 9-hole course that was local to my parents' house. And then my parents, they had a pool and stuff, so we could come back after golf, hang out in the pool, drink a bunch of beers. Everybody sleeps there, and then that was it. So that's probably closer to like what a bachelor party back in the day would look like. You just go out with your friends, have fun, maybe at a bar or something, and then you come home. It's not a fancy weekend outing. I think it's funny that we picked to go golfing because none of us have ever golfed. So out of the six of us or whatever, nobody has ever touched a golf club. We were playing this golf game on our phones. I'm trying to think of what the name was, but it was like this cartoonish golfing game on our phones.
I feel like I remember
You've
that.
probably seen Zach play it
I feel like I
before.
remember you playing it.
Possibly, yeah.
Was it like one of those things where you have like three or four like people and they're like trying to
Yeah, they're trying to like pull
back and the
back on the
shoots the
ball.
ball and
Yeah. Yeah, I forget what it's called. But anyway, it was kind of a popular app game on your phone at one point. Man, it's like right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, we were playing this golf game. I think Barry was playing it too, and it just kind of like made this little like I don't know, just like this little feeling grow to us like, oh, we want to actually try playing golf because like the app was so much fun. So we decided to pull the trigger. It was pretty funny. Like, the preparation for it was like Cyrus and me and Barry. Like, we ended up just going on Craigslist, finding somebody getting rid of an old set of clubs for like $10 or whatever, and we would go buy those. Jason, of course, took his mom's set from the 70s. Um, and yeah, so we all eventually got a set of clubs. I think two guys didn't have a set of clubs, but they just used ours. And it was uh, quite interesting. Now that I actually play golf a little more, it was crazy to know that we did not make it through 6 holes between the time our tee time started and when the golf course closed fully. Which was like probably like 4 hours or more. And this was a little 9 hole course. We only made it to hole 6. And yeah, it was really bad. And I remember like some funny things like so one at most golf courses the first tee is always right by the pro shop, which is so intimidating, especially when you're not confident in your swing because you have to tee off and the people that work there, everybody who's getting ready to tee up or get their, arrive for their tee time and everything, everybody's watching you. And I remember that there's also a water feature right in front of the first tee. Luckily, me and Barry hit ours, and they made it over the water, but they went, off the fairway or something. But it was hard getting some of the people off the first tee. It probably took us 45 minutes to get through the first hole, I would assume. Like, we had to let some people play through.
I was just about to ask if there was anyone after you.
We had to let some people play through, and there was just a lot of whiffs, a lot of whiffing. I remember Jason got mad at Harshal because, which that's like probably the first time I met Harshal before I worked with him. But he like teed up a ball and hit it with a driver from the fairway, like right in the middle of the course. I'm like, whatever, man, whatever gets you to the hole, because at this point, like, we're struggling hard. But yeah, it was so much fun. But that event is what drove golfing for me, Barry, Cyrus. Ryan probably would have golfed eventually anyway. Oh, was Ryan there? Oh, Ryan might not have been there.
I know Ryan was at the wedding.
Yeah, I don't know if Ryan was there. Anyway, yeah, a lot of it drove us down the golfing path for a lot of us. And yeah, it was just a fun time. So after golfing, came back, just chilled in the pool, and then we slept it off. Pretty average bachelor party.
Super chill.
Jason's bachelor party was definitely a lot more stressful from my end. One, like, we got an Airbnb for the weekend. Trying to find an Airbnb that sleeps the amount of people that we had, that was in a proper location, because, like, Jason was up in the Northeast. We were in PA. There were some people from Jersey. One of his guys was from Maryland. We ended up in the Poconos, but that was kind of a struggle. And then finding a rate that everybody was okay with. Like, I think that, one, you got to be conscious of everybody's financial situations, but then also you kind of have to put your foot down when you're planning these things, and you can't give people options. Like, I think as the planner, if you want to float something out to the group, that's fine, but then you need to make a decision and stick with it, and then whoever stays, will be there, right? It's just it's stressful trying to plan everything. Like, we did the Airbnb, and then we did golfing one day, and it's just like, some people are like, well, I don't like golfing, so I don't know, like, if I'm gonna come to that or whatever. And I'm like, that's fine, just tell me so I can make the reservations for how many people are going to show up. Booking an Airbnb comes with signing all this paperwork stating that if there's any damage, that you're financially responsible for it. If you don't know everybody that's part of the party, you could have some reckless asshole that's going to break a bunch of shit and then leave you with a huge bill. And how do you fight that out and everything? So, I guess it all comes down to money. It gets stressful because you're throwing out a lot of money to set up this fun party for somebody, and then you have to go and collect it from all these people. Um, I forget if I was able to collect all the money for the Airbnb from people. I feel like I got most of it, but who knows? I think you're always going to get shorted a little bit when you're the person planning everything. Um, Overall, the bachelor party was super fun, but it's just like up until the point that you're there, and then like it up until the point that you're there, it's stressful, and then like you still have like this little bit of stress that is just regarding the whole property, making sure people aren't doing dumb things. It's not like I can let loose the whole time because I have to make sure that asshole number one isn't breaking stuff and causing me to pay for the damages and stuff like that. But yeah, it was fun. It's a lot more stressful when you're planning. You know, we've been to both where you plan one, where you don't plan one. Yours was very planned. The bachelorette party that you went to that you didn't plan. It was very like laid out.
Both of them were very planned, very specifically like had an itinerary and
Or
everything.
maybe that's a bachelorette thing, or maybe that's a difference between bachelor and bachelorette parties. But most of the bachelor parties I've been to, there's like one or two key events that they're planning on doing, and then everything around that is kind of hazy.
I think and I can't say if it's specifically because it's guys versus girls or if it's.
Uh-oh, you're stepping in dangerous territory.
I said I don't know, but I know sometimes, at least sometimes, like when it's like me and my friends and we're hanging out and we're like, okay, what are we doing? Not everyone's okay with just saying, all right, we got dinner plans at 5. It's 11 a.m. now. Do you just want to like hang out and goof off? Some people are much more, they really need structure and want a schedule and don't want to feel like they're wasting time on the weekend. Now, whether that's coming from the bride or coming from the maid of honor or someone else in the bridal party or the planning process, I don't know. But I feel as though not everyone is okay with the very go with the flow, kind of just relax idea of a bachelorette party or a bachelor party. I'm sure there are bachelor parties where everything's not planned out very specifically, but I'm sure there are people that go out and they're like, okay, we have a tea time for this, and then we're gonna go here for lunch, and then we're gonna go back and we got this set up at the house, and we're gonna play yard games until dinner, and then for dinner we're gonna do X, Y, and Z. And
That's right, we did play yard games at Jason's too.
but you know what I mean? Like there are some people that aren't okay with the go with the flow. Okay, we have 4 hours to kill. Let's just hang out. Whereas I know some people are totally okay with that.
It's all personal preference, and it's the person who's planning these events are typically very close for the guest of honor, so they'll know.
Would you attend or plan another bachelor party?
I'd definitely attend another bachelor party, and I would assume that I would be invited to the bachelor party for your brothers when they eventually get there.
I would hope so.
If I'm not offended, but like anyway, like I would imagine that I would go to theirs, which like I would have no problem going to.
But just generally speaking, going versus planning.
I don't know if I would
you?
want to plan one again. I think that like if Barry makes me his best man, then I'll have to plan his. But I think that it's a lot easier to plan something for him because I know him so well. I think that most of the people that I know very well are already married now. So if I was asked to plan one, it would probably be for somebody who I don't know as well. And that would just make it that much harder and probably not something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
What about you?
I I would absolutely go to one. Um, I think they're fun. I think it's a good way to, you know, um, I don't want to say like rekindle, but it's like good to meet up with old friends, and it's just a good reason to go out and hang out and have a good time. Planning wise, I would definitely not plan one on my own. Now, if it were someone that asked me to help out, or if I ever became a matron of honor, because I can't be a maid of honor because I'm married now.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But if I were ever asked to be that, I would not be able to do it alone. I would definitely need someone else to step in and help out because, like you said, it's a lot of stress. And especially with like my work schedule currently, I can't just come home and start doing research on different things, knowing that I have to, I come home, make dinner. By the time we're all settled and good to go, it's like time for bed.
Yeah, a lot of these events that we talked about on this episode, we were in situations where we were either in school or freshly graduated. Um, or at least for me, that's where I was at in my life.
When I
Where,
planned mine, I was in my fourth year. Well, when I planned the one.
yeah, I just feel like with our careers as they are now, there's a lot more stress on a daily basis from our careers, and then to add additional stress due to like social events or whatever, it's just it may not be worth it.
Yeah, so I definitely wouldn't do it alone. However, if someone asked me to help out, if someone asked me to give my opinions, kind of point them in a different direction or give any input, I would absolutely do it. I know, and I was going to ask you this, but I know if you had any advice for anyone going to a bachelorette party, any recommendations, anything like that, just in general.
My advice would be that if it is more than a 1 day event, take it easy on the first night for sure. Because I've definitely lost out on multiple day events by going too hard on the first day. So, sometimes it's a marathon, not a race. Just keep,
Usually it's a marathon, not a race.
scale the pace to what the event duration is. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. Also, the advice that I mentioned earlier, if you are planning a bachelor or a bachelorette party and you are, the person in charge, you can float ideas out to people, but somebody's got to put their foot down and, state what is going to happen or what event you're doing. And, like if you keep floating ideas out, everybody's going to have different opinions. And if you're in the position to where you're planning the event, then, the bride or groom put trust in you that you know what they would want to do. So it's your responsibility to put your foot down, say, this is what's happening, here's the cost. If that is okay with you, or if you can afford this and you want to come, then, tell me that you're coming. If not, then, no biggie, but just let me know. I think that's my only advice. It's just
That is good advice, especially if you are the planner. If anyone's putting their foot down, it's going to have to be you. And that kind of also goes with mine. So my advice for anyone planning going to a bachelorette party, bachelor party, remember that it's all about the guest of honor. And when I say it's all about the guest of honor, I'm not saying like you have to kneel on the ground to be their footstool or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but when you're going into this, keep that in mind. Would you do this for this person? Would you it's I think the easiest way to put it is it's not about you. You're
Yeah.
going to a bachelorette party. If they ask you to, oh, we're going to go do a destruction room, or, oh, we're going to go for a hike, and that's not something you would normally do, that's fine. But keep that in mind because you're showing up and you're there to support your friend. And if you are not willing to spend that kind of money on that friend, or if you're not willing to do these things that are kind of out of your comfort zone, that's fine, but you need to be very upfront about that because you are showing up, whether it's a day or a weekend or however long you're there to support your friend, and it's supposed to be like their last hurrah. But
I have
don't
another.
do it because of who else is there. Don't do it because of what's in or out of your comfort zone. Now, obviously, if they're going skydiving and you have a deathly fear of heights, then yeah, but if it's just a little outside your comfort zone, do it for the bride. Do it for the groom. Do it for the fun and being able to be a part of it and saying, "Yeah, I was there for my best friend on this day," because she or he chose you to be at their side for one of the biggest days of their life, and you should be there and want to celebrate with them for everything.
I thought of another piece of advice that also piggybacks off of your advice, but if you are going to one of these events and you have some sort of previous history or beef with one of the other people that are going, try your hardest to put that to the side. I know that at my bachelor party, there are a few different people that don't necessarily get along with each other. But at my bachelor party, I wouldn't even have known, like if I didn't know, their history and stuff like that. And it just made that time more special to me because all my friends were there. There was no drama or fighting, or shit talking or anything. So it was just an all around good time. And like as the groom in that case, like I picked up on that, and it just made it just showed that my friends respected me enough for that.
And that's the same bachelor party and bridal showers, baby showers. I feel like that's a good rule for anything in general. If you are there to celebrate someone else, whether has to do with a wedding, a baby shower, a birthday, if you know someone else is going and you have beef with them,
Beef.
if you have beef with them,
Beef.
but if you don't get along with them, do your best to remind yourself it's not about you. You're not showing up to this party to make it all about you and whatever drama you've had. You're showing up to this party for the guest of honor. Make it about them because, like Chris said, they'll pick up on it and they'll appreciate it. So,
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to get down off my soapbox.
All right. Yeah. So I think that this has been enough for this episode. We went over some fun times in our past, and hopefully if anybody listening has any bachelor or bachelorette parties coming up, whether you're planning, attending, or it's for you, go out and have the most fun you can. And if you have any recipe or cocktail suggestions, please send them to diariesofAworkingcouple@gmail.com.
I'm actually going to open that up. You know what? Recipes, cocktails, any fun stories, any questions you want to ask, anything you just want to air out. Listen, you just want to drop us a love note and say hi. You guys are great. Keep up the good work. Just send it on over to the email.
Yeah, feel free to send anything. There's minimal things there.
We
so
are
we'll
also
definitely see it.
We are also very welcoming of any fun pet pictures. Doggos, kitties, parakeets, turtles, fish. What else did I miss? Snakes. I don't know what other pets there are.
All right.
But all the pets. Send it on over to our email, diariesofAworkingcouple@gmail.com. Send them to our Instagram inbox @diariesofAworkingcouple.
Even though it hasn't been updated
Listen,
in years.
it's not years. I am not the person we should have put in charge of social media because my personal social media is a very good reflection of how little I post.
Have you seen mine? Like, I haven't updated my Facebook photo since Mary's wedding. And like we even had our wedding pass, and I haven't updated any photos from our wedding.
Listen.
And then my Instagram, I think I did post something. Oh, never mind. That wasn't on Instagram. I posted a Snapchat story the other day.
No, the most recent
of a Rocket League clip.
The most recent Instagram post I think you have is from like. I actually think it was from a month after we got married, or a couple days after we got married.
Wow. See, this is why I can't be in charge of the social media.
I think. So listen, I'm getting there. We're gonna work on it. I don't know what the deadline is, but I'm working on it. Okay, we're gonna get better.
That's the thing. We have no deadlines, and we're going to keep procrastinating.
But either way, we do see messages that you send over, so please feel free to shoot us a message on Instagram, on Gmail through Gmail. Listen, I think it's time for
we were going to record 2 tonight, but I think we're only just recording this one because I'm already getting tired.
Yeah, maybe we'll recap, and we really should just get back to recording on the weekends. So maybe Sunday we'll do another.
Okay. Either that or we'll do one within the next few days. We'll see.
TBD.
All
right.
right.
I know is we will not deprive you guys of episodes. You're welcome, Mom.
Alrighty. Talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.